Hey guys, I'm just making a video and this is like a rant. And basically it's about what I learned or talked about with coworkers and stuff like that at work today. And it's actually a really good lesson for all of us, I believe. And sorry if I look gross. I just came back from the gym. Yay me! I went to the gym with my friend Candace. She helped me with ab workouts and stuff, and I helped her with dance. So that was pretty cool. All right, so moving along. So today's conversation is about being yourself, technically, in a way. Okay, so today I had to help like 60 Japanese military students around my area, and that was my work. Whatever. Da 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 da. Okay, next. And one of the cameramen that was there to take pictures and stuff is really close to my mom. I guess they work together or used to work together. I don't know what it was. Okay. Anyway, so me and him sat down and we were talking, and we got into this whole conversation. Da 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 da. Happy. Okay. Then we got into conversation about how it feels to be me or him. And he told me that he's always admired people who are half because we have two cultures in us and that we could speak bilingual and things like that. Well, I told him, I was like, that's not the case, because you have Japanese people who were born and raised in the States and 100% think that they're American. Their blood may be Japanese, but they're American. They speak English, don't speak no Japanese, don't know nothing about Japanese culture, and they're American. So I told him, I was like, for me, I was lucky because I was born and raised in Japan, and I have my American side through, my dad's work, my friends, and things like that, and the school I go to. And so I was like, I'm lucky. And then I told him, I was like, it was hard for me to accept myself of being half. I'm not white and I'm not Japanese. I'm half. I can't consider myself a certain race because, some people are like, why don't you act white? Why don't you act Japanese? Well, if you mean acting Japanese by being respectful and always, taking BS from people, no, not happening. And if you mean by white, stereotypical, oh my god, guys, I'm gonna get my nails done. Seriously, guys, not all white people are like that. I learned my lesson the hard way. Now, don't get me wrong. Growing up, there was a phase where I was like, I hate Japanese people. I'm white. That was because of what I went through when I was little. And then there was a phase of, I hate white people. I'm Japanese. I don't consider myself white. I'm Japanese. Well, no matter what I say, I'm half white. It's gonna be in me. And then I got into the whole, oh, I hate white people, but I'm still half white. It's okay because I don't act like them. Well, the reason why I said or think that way or used to think that way is mainly because when I went to live with my aunt for 6 months into Boston, I went to an all-white school. Never in my life have I been to one race school. When I mean all white, there was 2 black people, and me and my brother were the only Asians, and the rest were white. All right, white. And it was a little hard for me because, it's always hard for a girl, I think. In my perspective, I think it's hard for a girl to go to a new school because girls will always hate on you, no matter what, because you're competition to them, to the boys that they already have, the boys that are sick of them, because if they would have liked them before, they would have been dating already, whatever the case is, we're competition for some reason. And then boys, I think it's a lot easier to get along if you play video games, if you have something in common with one of the people, you're not going to get hated on. So I think that's my perspective on that. But anyway, that's not the point. I went to white school, and one of my teachers was talking, doing whatever, and she turned to me and was like, how does it feel to be chink? I was like, are you talking to me? I was freaking out because I never had no one ask me how I felt to be chink. Like, chink? Really? I've never heard that term used around me in my lifetime. Oh my gosh, I was freaking out. It was the worst thing. And then I was like, like I didn't know what to say. So one of my friends I made in that class was like, I think Michael was trying to say it feels good. Like she got my back, you know? It was cool, whatever, da 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 da. End of story. And then I had people come up to me. So you were in Japan when the earthquake happened, right? So were you climbing the Great Wall of China? Or I had someone come up to me and was like, oh, you're Japanese. Does that mean you speak Chinese? Really, guys, with all the education that you guys get, why do you not know the difference between Japan and China? Like, 2 different continents. That's like calling a Puerto Rican a Mexican. You don't do it. That's calling a French person Italian. You don't do it. It's different. 2 different races. Like, you can't do that. And it was irritating. But, you know what? I made good friends. And it was hard because I had an already stereotypical, like, mindset about white people. And I go to a white people school, and then white people do it. And it was hard for me to get my mindset around it. But, you know what? Whatever. I have white friends now. They're cool. They're nice. End of story. I'm white. Or half white. And then he asked me, or he gave me his perspective about his experience, that it's easier to work under Americans than Japanese. And I had to, like, ask him why, and he said, because Americans, you can speak your mind without being disrespectful, or being thought that you were being disrespectful to them. But Japanese culture, you cannot speak your mind to an upper person. So if your boss is up here and you're below, or on the very bottom, you know, like the, like if you have a 7th floor building, you work in a 7th floor building, basically your boss would be all the way in the top, right? And then you have the person that works at the front desk all the way in the bottom. Well, if you work all the way in the bottom, you cannot talk to the person all the way on top because it's disrespectful in Japanese culture. I don't know why, it just is. And it's harder, I think, for kids because you have to look up to your adults or people older than you and be respectful to them no matter what the consequences is, or no matter what the situation is, even if they're being disrespectful to you. But in American culture, if someone's or American mindset, if someone's disrespectful to you, you can be, I think, more than likely, you can be disrespectful back. So it was hard for me to juggle between being open-minded and being, like, more loud about not being disrespectful, but I would say, like, being more respectful for yourself by speaking up. And then there's another culture I'm in where I can't speak my mind depending on the circumstances, or I have to, I don't know, like, you have to be respectful no matter what, even if you're disrespected. And I'm like in the middle of it. I can't be one or the other. Like, I'm in the middle. Like, I have both cultures in me. And it's hard because when I get into the Japanese community, I'm like, I try to be respectful as much as I can. But then if someone disrespects me, I'm like, is this my place to tell them, let them know, you know, you can't step all over me and be more of an American about it? Or do I need to stay Japanese and be like, okay, sorry, you know, and move along with my life? And it's hard for me because, you know, you're in the middle. You're stuck. And it's like a clump. But I like to think that I made my own little culture race. I celebrate probably both cultures as much as I can. New Year's, I celebrate Japanese style with, like, you know, grandparents and family and da-da-da-da-da. And I have to eat Japanese little traditional Japanese New Year stuff. We watch TV till midnight and then go to the shrine at midnight and pray and da-da-da-da. It's fun. Well, in a way, it's culture. It's, yeah, whatever. And then, you know, Christmas, I celebrate American style. Thanksgiving. Japanese style, that New Year's probably about it. We don't have many. Oh, Kids Day, Girls Day. I like celebrating that. That's fun. I get my favorite candy on Girls Day. That's about it. But, and so, bottom line is, people who are, just because you're half, I have friends that are half, that was born and raised in a different country and think they're French. Or don't even think they're French. They speak only French. They don't speak English, or they might be American and Japanese and they don't speak it at all. They just speak French because they were born in France and they lived there their whole life and they don't have no one to tell them elsewise. Like, what's the problem? You were born there, you were raised there. Why not think you're French? If I could speak French, I think I would be cool. Whatever. So bottom line is, guys, don't be terrified to be yourself, because you can't change your bloodline. You can't change who you are. This is how I turned out. I was born as, and I can't change it. And I can't, I can't say I want to be Japanese, so I'm going to be, legally, I can. Legally, I could be like, okay, I'm going to be Japanese. So legally, I can. But, my blood, my everything, I'm always going to be in the middle. I cannot pick, in my blood-wise, I'm fully white. I'm fully Japanese. Because I'll be lying to myself and I'll be lying to everyone else. I'm Japanese and white. Actually, Italian, guys. Italian. But either way, you see what I'm saying? I'm both, cultures, both races. I have mad respect for Japanese culture. And I'm mad respect for American culture. It's hard. And, you have two cultures where it's different and you're in the middle of it. I feel like I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to stop now. Bottom line, respect your cultures. Have fun with it. Learn new cultures. When I went to Thailand for 2 Christmases, I had so much fun. I know how to say very good for food, which is aloy maka in Thai, because they have some good food there. I know how to say hello, goodbye, no, they don't have goodbye. Hello, thank you. That's about it. I went shopping. I learned their little Thai dances. It was fun. Learn new cultures. It's fun. I'm telling you. All right. Thanks for listening. If you did listen, sorry if it was a rant and annoying, but see you guys later. Bye.